Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new to this channel, my name is Frank Zhu, and I'm a college professor teaching sociology, history, and philosophy. I'm also an award-winning landscape photographer. Have you ever debated or argued about controversial social and political topics such as abortion, religion, or policy decision? Have you succeeded in convincing other people of your points of view? What do you think are your most important debating skills if you have succeeded? If you have failed, have you ever thought about the reasons why you failed? What are they? Well, I think there are a variety of reasons for your failure to convince people in debates or arguments. It could be the lack of good evidence. It could be the lack of good communication skills. Or it could be other reasons. Or it could be simply because you need to learn how to reason and how to formulate good arguments. And that is what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Today's video is a follow-up on my previous video about Socrates. In this video, I'm going to focus on how to avoid some of the most common errors in reasoning. It goes without saying that in order to convince people, you need to make good arguments. When there are no convincing arguments, discussions of highly controversial questions often fall into unreasonable name-calling, foot-stomping, and other unpleasant or even nasty argument forms. You won't convince anyone if you just tell them, abortion should not be allowed because it is wrong. To say that something is wrong is merely to reinstate that it should not be allowed. You can't convince anyone by such an argument without any substantial support or evidence. For you to be persuasive, you must be able to produce good arguments that provide a reasonable support for your opinions. Before you can make good arguments, it is essential that you know how to reason well. First of all, good reasoning can be achieved either through deductive approach or inductive approach. In some of my previous videos, I elaborated on both deductive and inductive reasoning. Please check them out if you are interested. Either deductive or inductive approach helps you reach a conclusion based on supporting reasons, which are often called premises. In a sound argument, the premises are true and the conclusion follows from them naturally and logically, such as in this argument. Since all philosophers are wise, and since Socrates was a philosopher, therefore Socrates was wise. You can recognize the reasons in this argument by keywords like since, because, etc. The conclusion is usually introduced by such words as thus and therefore, etc. Secondly, always remember the distinction between facts and values. It is important to make it clear whether you agree or disagree about the values or about the facts in question. Facts are those things which are generally known to be true. For example, you may say, around 45% of abortions are unsafe in your argument against abortion. The number is presumably a fact statement. Of course, you should provide a reference in this case. On the other hand, values are those things which you personally hold to be worthwhile. For example, you may say, all people should be allowed to control their own bodies in your argument for abortions. Sometimes differences between a philosophical issue are a matter of differences not in values, but in different understandings of facts. Again, let's take debates about abortion, for example. Disagreements often come from different understandings of what constitutes killing. If both of you agree that killing is wrong, then your difference is actually about at what time of pregnancy abortion becomes killing. When that is made clear to everyone in the debate, a consensus may be reached, or the focus of the debate will be shifted to the real point of debate. Thirdly, you should be aware of the fact that reasoning can go wrong, and it can go wrong in various ways. The most common error is the fallacy of begging the question or circular argument. Such reasoning draws on the argument's conclusion to support its premises, such as when you say, abortion is wrong because it is immoral. This argument is an invalid argument because your premise is the same as your conclusion. It is called a circular argument because basically you are arguing in a circle. I would say to you, if it is immoral, of course it is wrong, but you still haven't explained why it is immoral. Another common error in reasoning is the so-called ad hominem fallacy. Such a fallacy involves discrediting someone's argument by attacking their character, background, motives, or other irrelevant personal attributes rather than addressing the actual point. Suppose you say, that cannot be right because just look who is saying it. You point your fingers at the person, not the argument he or she makes. I would ask you, would it become right if it is said by another person, a famous person? Fourthly, you should also note that giving reasons to justify a conclusion is not exactly the same as giving an explanation for why you believe that something is right or wrong. Suppose you say you don't support euthanasia because that was the way you have been taught. This is no reason for supporting your argument that euthanasia is wrong. It only explains why you are opposed to euthanasia. What you need to do is to give reasons why everyone should oppose euthanasia. You must justify your conclusion. This is a common error in reasoning. Unfortunately, many of us have a tendency to rationalize our behavior. Examples are many. Suppose someone tries to explain why they have stolen an item from a shop by saying, "It looked so beautiful, I took it away without thinking. I should be forgiven because I've never stolen anything before." This is only an explanation. It doesn't justify that stealing is not wrong, and the thief should be forgiven. As a college professor, I know it for a fact that some students would do everything to rationalize their low scores by blaming their professors' teaching styles rather than their poor study habits. Such rationalizations are not justifying reasons. They are usually excuses used to explain away bad behavior or poor habits. Finally, the common error of letting our personal biases or emotions influence our reasoning should not be overlooked. This error also occurs when you fail to detect other people's biases. The damage of biases and emotions to our reasoning may be more than you expect. First, they cloud our judgments because our biases make us focus on such evidence which confirms our existing beliefs and overlook the other side of the argument. For example, if you are biased towards the argument that women should be allowed to have abortions, you will selectively share articles and opinions that support the argument while ignoring or downplaying the information that contradicts it. Emotions can also inflict damage to our reasoning because they often make us jump to conclusions without considering all evidence. Secondly, biases and emotions lead to misinterpretations of evidence, making us focus only on evidence which fits our own agenda or our current moods. In addition, strong personal emotions may even lead to confrontations, which we should always avoid during our intellectual discussions. Well, that is all for today's video. As I said at the beginning, there are many reasons for not being persuasive when arguing about something. It could be because of lack of persuasive communication skills, which I think will be the subject of my future videos. Please let me know if you are interested. As always, thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.